I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're diving into the wonderfully chaotic, laugh out loud, and heart tugging world of parenting with a terrific author. Her name is Renee Hawkley, and she has penned a wonderful book. It's called Once Upon an Amateur Mom. This delightful collection of essays is drawn from Renee's beloved Mother's Minutes column and offers timeless, humorous, and honest reflections on the parenting journey. From first day jitters to everyday misadventures, Renee's writing reminds us that no parent starts out an expert, and that's exactly where the magic lies. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. And be sure to download the Spotlight Network TV app, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Renee, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's my pleasure. Let's first talk about your column that became this book. Tell us about Mother's Minutes.
Well, it got started with our oldest son, Dan, graduating from high school. And so that meant that he was going to be leaving our home and off to college. And it was a big deal for me. So I decided to write something about it. So I did write something about it, and published. It was published in our Mountain Home, Idaho newspaper, and then it went and was published to the Reader's Digest. And
Oh.
from that on, I just decided to write more. My husband kept encouraging me, and every couple of days he would say, we would have some kind of incident, and he would say, "You should write something about that." And then
Mm.
2 or 3 days later, he would say, Did you write that
Yeah.
yet?" So he was prodding me on to go forward and keep writing. And sometimes I didn't like him always prodding me, but it did get me going, and turned me into whatever it is that I am as a writer.
Well, wonderful. So every now and then somebody needs a push. So it's sometimes helpful when our spouses do that. I remember when my son left for college, I cried like a baby to think about him leaving home and not having him there all the time. So that can be a really emotional time when you feel like the empty nest is beginning. Um, so these are the types of moments you've reflected upon during the course of writing. Talk to us about some of the essays that you feel are really standout ones that would really connect with parents. Anything that really comes to mind?
Um, I just think some of the things that happen just out of the blue, that you somehow think that no one else ever has an incident like this, and then writing about it, then you realize that, oh, really, everyone has goof ups and things that happen, that they're just so precious, such precious moments that you need to write them down.
Yeah, they are precious. And amateur mom, amateur dad, I mean, that's all of us when we start, where I was 25 years old and had a little baby and, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I had read some articles and watched some TV shows and things like that. But we all start out with very few skills. We have to kind of learn them from our parents and from what we read. Tell us about that journey a little bit.
Well, I think from my perspective, it never ends, the amateur part. For
Hmm.
me, it's just one thing after another. And even now, I find with my grandchildren and just things that happen, that the journey goes on as being an amateur, because things happen that never happened before
Yeah.
to you or maybe to anyone else, that just bring joy and sometimes tears to
Yeah.
your eyes. And learning as we go through this amateur process. It's an amateur in the beginning. I find that it's an amateur where I am as well.
Yeah. True, true. Because, you've got little kids, you got little problems, you got big kids, you got big problems, it's often said. And you never stop being their parent, you never stop being their mom or their mother, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's very true.
Do you draw a distinction between being mom and being a mother?
Well, I think there's billions of mothers, but only one mom.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that
Absolutely.
with my own mother, um, she's the only person that I refer to as mom.
Hmm. Exactly. Very, very true. Very, very true. And or mommy, depending on our level of maturity, right? Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it
Sometimes
never,
I
and
wish
it's
my
it,
mom was here.
yeah. It's still a great thrill when your kids call you mom or mommy or dad or
Yes.
daddy. I mean, that's, I think for a lot of people, I know it is for me, that's your favorite role in life, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can remember one of my children, I don't even remember which one it was, but would attach himself to my leg.
Mhm.
And, we would just be going around the house together because he would, I had things to do. I needed to continue to do whatever it was that I was doing, but he just needed that security
Yeah.
for that particular time in his life, just to always be with me.
Exactly, exactly. And that's part of the fun of it. That's part of the magic of it. Those little moments that we remember, like your son clinging to your leg when you've got household tasks to attend to. Do you still write your column? Tell us a little bit about your writing.
I don't write my column, but that's a good question. Perhaps I should do that, but I am writing the books, so
Yeah. So you
I
have
have
so your readers and new readers will be able to tune in and read and find out these great thoughts up here. Are you a grandma now?
I am a grandma.
So are you an amateur grandma also?
I am an amateur grandma for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Board certified.
A lot of people, I'm not a grandparent, but a lot of people say they enjoy grandparenting more than parenting because you give the kids back. Are you finding that you
Yes,
enjoy just
yes.
spoiling your little grandkids?
Yes, they come to my house, they throw the bean bags. I tell them, please not in the living room, not throwing the bean bags in the living room because I have windows in the living room and I don't want one of them to go out. So I do uh go in and scold them sometimes when they love the bean bags, no matter what age they are.
That's
The little
funny.
ones and then even the teenagers
Yeah,
like for some reason.
that's
But
amazing.
say stop throwing the bean bags, and then they stop for about 5 minutes.
That's funny. Do you think parents, when they're in the moment, when they have their young kids, kind of sweat it too much? I mean, sometimes I see parents desperately trying to hush their child at a restaurant because the child might be acting up or something. And, I'm there as a patron. It doesn't bother me. Okay, he's making a little noise. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But the mom and dad are like, oh my God, you know? So there's a lot of stress as a parent, particularly for young parents. And I think sometimes young parents take it too hard. They have to realize that they're not perfect, right?
Exactly. You do have to let go and not be too um, competitive, let's say,
Yeah.
with other people, because your child, no matter who your child is a one of a kind. And your children, as I've learned, each of my children is so different from each and every one of my other children
Yeah.
that you can't even treat them the same way
Right.
because they have their different mannerisms, they have their different ideas. I remember a time when one of our sons um, just went out in the backyard. He didn't like a particular tree that was in our backyard. So he just chopped it down. And that just happened. Fortunately, it fell, and it wasn't a small tree either. It was
Mm,
a pretty big tree. And fortunately, it landed in a in a good way, so that it didn't hurt our house or anyone else's houses nearby.
mm.
But that's just one of the adventures of
Of
that
parenting.
you can't predict what they're going to do, and you can't predict what you are going to do after they do what they do.
Right,
And it
right.
doesn't mean they are bad children or good children. They are just children, and they do unexpected things.
Yeah. They're mischievous at times and they're just learning themselves. They're amateur kids. They've never
Exactly.
done this before. They've never been 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or whatever the age is. And sometimes their bodies are more advanced than their brains and so forth. And something that they've seen on TV looks cool to do, like cutting down a tree or, doing a stunt on their bicycle and maybe breaking an arm or something like that. So
Exactly.
it's amazing the adventures that kids put us through, and the heartache at times because we're worried about them that they don't get injured or hurt. I mean, that's a big
Exactly.
part of it as well. Yeah. What's your
Well, you
best
want to
advice to
shelter
go
them.
ahead?
You want to shelter them and have everything perfect for them. And, they're going to get the best grades, and they're going to do everything just the way you have it pictured in your mind.
Hmm.
But that said, it just doesn't happen that way.
No, it's not scripted. It's not always going to work out as planned or what you envision. What do you hope parents take away from this book when they read it?
I hope they take away the joy,
Hmm.
the joy, because through all of it, and even now with grandchildren, and just looking back at some of the things that they did and said that are now funny rather than just being a burden,
Hmm.
it's just the most joy that I have experienced has been as a parent.
Amen. I agree. In fact, I miss it. I mean, I'm still a parent, but my kids are big. I miss having little kids. I miss having them around me and daddy, 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 questions about this, question, can we go here? Can we do this? Can we do that? I really do. It's like almost like a grieving part of me for a long time that my kids weren't little anymore, that they're independent adults that have their own lives and their own relationships and their own homes. And because that is the best part of my life. Yeah, I really loved it. And I guess we recapture that again a little bit once we get grandkids.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a TV advertisement with a little girl who's coming up the walk and saying, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy."
Mm.
I'm sure you've seen that.
Yeah,
But every time that comes on, I mean, just tears
I
just come to
know.
my eyes,
I
because
know.
you can just feel this little girl who's just learning to walk, and how she's just running to him as if he's like the star of the show, which he is the star
Yeah,
of the show. And just
exactly.
that idea of like, you are or I am someone, I'm the world to someone.
Exactly. Exactly. Well said. Well said. And we go from being the star of the show to being background actors, unfortunately. And that can be a little painful. And as you mentioned your story, I remember one of the last times I took my kids camping, my daughter was about 10, my son was about 13, and we were pulling out of the campsite in Bar Harbor, Maine. And I just felt so sad because we had such a wonderful time. And I knew that moments like that would be fleeting because they were getting to be young adults. They were going to want to go camping with their dad in an old VW bus, anymore. But I was smart enough to know and savor it and cherish it, as you have, and you've immortalized it as well with this wonderful legacy of your work. So
Well, thank you. And you've described it perfectly. Is just, and I'm sure you could say too that you relived those
Hmm.
moments in Maine or wherever they happened.
Yeah,
Um, um, the popcorn all over the house
yeah.
and just the little things that might have been somewhat irritating at the time
Hmm.
become endearing.
Absolutely. Enjoy the scratches on the furniture. It reminds you of when your kids
Yeah.
were little, no doubt. The name of the book we've been talking about today is Once Upon an Amateur Mom, a wise, witty, and wonderfully real take on parenting and the parenting roller coaster that reminds us all that we're just figuring it out as we go along. Thank you so much for joining me here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure's been all mine, Renee. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time until next time on Spotlight.